Hi there again, Bernie Miklasz with you with a fresh video here on the Bernie channel on YouTube. Very much appreciate all your support. It's been great. All the comments have been fantastic. We're going to try to get bigger and better and go along, but thanks for the early response. Thanks for the early support. The Cardinals took another one on the chin last night, of course, losing the Padres 7-4. Boy, really sad to see that crowd out there. What crowd? Cardinals are in a strange place as a franchise. We're going to talk about that more as we go along. Today, I want to talk about something that didn't work the way the Cardinals hoped it would work, thought it would work, crossed their fingers it would work. Listen, they needed bulk pitching, starting pitching in the offseason, preparing for 2024. So John Mozeliak sort of got a jump on the market. He went out and he signed Sonny Gray, he signed Lance Lynn, he signed Kyle Gibson. Now, I want to say this up front. What I'm going to talk about is not what they should have done, okay? We all agree they could have done more. They could have gone other ways. So I'm getting this out of the way early because I don't want to talk about Gibson, Lynn, and Gray and how that's worked out and not touch on the other thing, which is what they could have done or should have done, because then you'll all be leaving me comments saying, well, why didn't you talk about what they should have done? Fair point, except this is specifically about how did these things work out? The big moves of the offseason, how did they work out? Well, they worked out for a while. In the first 3 months of the season, the Cardinals had a winning record, and their starting pitching ERA was around middle of the pack. Technically, it ranked 17th out of 30, but they had a good number of quality starts. And also, I say middle of the pack because where they were rankings, not that far from being 14th, 15th, whatever, But the fact is they were respectable. It was stable. They pitched, for the most part, they pitched pretty well. Again, I ain't saying it's great, but I'm just saying it kind of filled one of the objectives, which is to replenish your starting pitching supply and be more competitive, a lot more competitive with your starting rotation. So that rotation performed in a way in the first 3 months where you say, okay, they're respectable, they're stable, they're sure as hell better than they were last year, which ain't much of a bar to clear, right? Pretty low bar, but you get my point. Things were okay the first 3 months. That's not the case since the beginning of July. Since the beginning of July, the Cardinals, 4.94 starting pitching ERA, 25th in the majors, 25th in the majors. It's really bad, and it's reflected on the fact that they have a losing record since the start of July. In fact, there are 4 games under 500 through Monday night. So the starting pitching, one of the questions, like all these old guys you signed, would they hold up over 6 months, right? First 3 months were fine. Again, I'm not saying this is like, Glavin, Smoltz, and Maddox, but they did okay, right? But over the last, since the beginning of July, a 4.94 starting pitching ERA, 25th. I just have to repeat that number. And here's the deal. It's not because of Palante. During that time, he has a 3.33 ERA. He's by far the best on the team. Fetty's been, who they got from the White Sox, Eric Fetty. He's been underwhelming, but he's made 2-3 good starts, and he'll be more consistent. Fetty's value will manifest itself in 2025. So Palante's been fine. Gosh, they bring up Mike. They've been more than fine. He's been good. And then they bring up Michael McGreevy, a rookie, to make a start. He did well. Haven't seen him again. But here's the deal. The 3 guys they signed, the older guys, and the question of their durability and being able to sustain performance over a long season, that ain't working out. That ain't working out, period. Since the start of July, let's see. Sonny Gray, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn have a combined 5.63 ERA. 5.63. The 3 free agent pitchers that you signed. 5.63 ERA since the beginning of July. Team has a losing record. Offense is the main drag, but still, the starting pitching hasn't helped except for Palante. And, you look at Sonny Gray and we say, well, that guy, hey, finished second or third, whatever it was, in the American League Cy Young voting. He had a hell of a year for the Twins. He got that sweeper pitch. It's outstanding. It's kind of changed his career, all this stuff. I love the Gray signing. I'm going to sit here and deny it and be a total phony. I thought they had a guy that was a top of the rotation starter. Again, I thought they could have used another guy that would have been another type of the rotation type starter. But then again, a lot of people wanted them to say, well, you got to go get Jordan Montgomery. He's still out there. That would have been a disaster. So anyway, Sonny Gray on the road this year, man. My goodness, 5.62 ERA, an average of more than 2 home runs per 9 innings. Slugging percentage against him is way over 500. I mean, he's not even competitive on the road. And listen, I know that the pitchers have an advantage at Busch Stadium. It's a more comfortable setting. It generally favors pitchers. I think it is harder to hit home runs and score runs there. But that doesn't justify what Gray has done on the road. I mean, again, this stuff's not even his road performance is not even average or slightly below average or, well, it's kind of mediocre. No, it's awful. It's just flat out awful. So how can a guy be an ace when he goes into a raid, goes into a road start, and all of a sudden it's like, strike up the Francis Scott Key, right? Bombs bursting through air. My goodness. I didn't expect that for him to be basically defenseless when he pitches on the road. But here we are. Kyle Gibson's been okay. It was bad last night, but his ERA's been getting higher and higher and higher. And he does have a kind of a career history trend when he does get the ERA tends to go up. Not all the time, but it tends to go up. Now, Lance Lynn, he's only made 4 starts since started July, but it's because he had a bad knee. And again, old pitchers, endurance, stamina, can they hold up? So individually, since the last 2 months, we're talking about, Gibson's got a 5.18 ERA. Gray's got a 5.83 ERA, 5.83. And Lynn is 6.27. So you want to know why the starting pitching has fallen off? Well, of course, you got Miles Mikolas too, but he's under the guaranteed contract protection. He's a made man, so to speak, right? Oh, you can't touch him. And Mikolas hasn't been good either the last couple months. His ERA is hovering around 5. So there you have it. Well, here's a question I have. What are you going to do for next year to make it better? What are you going to do? It didn't work this year. It worked for about half a season, a little more than half a season, falling apart here in the final 2 months. So what do you do to make it better? Well, they have some flexibility because Gibson and Lynn both have team options. So the Cardinals don't have to ride with them. They can say, thank you very much. We're not going to pick up your option. Or they could choose to pick up one of the options. Listen, I don't see any scenario where they would pick up Lance Lynn's option. I mean, seriously. It's just ridiculous. Let's not even act like that's a consideration. The thing about Gibson, who I do respect, Mark Feinsand of MLB.com, who's a really well-connected writer, and I respect the heck out of him. He's really good. He wrote something the other day where he said, hey, he thinks the Cardinals are, very much interested in bringing Kyle Gibson back. Now, we can debate that, and they could do better, obviously, if they're going to spend some money. But here's the problem. They have a clutter of mediocre pitchers. If everybody would come back, you would have 7 starters: Gray, Fetty, Mikolas, Palante, Gibson, Lynn, and Matz. All right. Let's say you do bring Gibson back. All right. That's 6. No Lynn. That's 6. Let's say they are determined to try to squeeze anything they can out of Steven Matz in the final year of his contract next year. Suppose they say, no, we like the way he pitched down the stretch. We're very confident. We're comfortable with him being in the rotation. Okay, if they don't trade Matz, and maybe, as one of you suggests in the comment section, and thank you, say, well, it actually perhaps works in their interest to let Matz go back in the rotation, because if he pitches pretty well, he pitches solidly, it might give him some trade value, because a team would trade for him, be a 1-year deal for $11 million. And in today's economy, that's worth taking a chance. But what if Matz breaks down again? See, that's maybe the risk in pitching him the rest of the way. Suppose he gets hurt. Then what is his trade value? So if you if you go Gray, Fetty, Mikolas, and Palante, that's 4. If you add Gibson, that would be 5. If you keep Matz, that would be 6. I repeat, there's a lot of clutter here. And if you're really going to get better with your rotation, one that would be built to last and one that would give you a better performance and one that would hold up over 6 months, you got to add some pieces. You have to refresh in that rotation. And they have a logjam of starters. Too many of them are either mediocre or bad. Palante's been very good. And it's almost ridiculous that we sit here and talk about, well, they're going to keep him in the rotation. I mean, cuckoo. That's the word I keep using, cuckoo. He's got to be in the rotation. But if they don't ease this logjam, and let's just say if you go Gray, Fetty, Mikolas, because they will, I'm not saying they should, but they will with Mikolas and Palante, that would be, 4 guys, and that would also mean that they're going to trade Matz or dump Matz and not pick up the options for Lynn and Gibson. Well, how do you move better pitchers into that rotation? How's Quinn Matthews going to fit in? And listen, this isn't me local yokel overhyping a Cardinals prospect. This guy's getting huge reviews, rave reviews. The lefty from Stanford, who's just been brilliant this year at 3 different levels. He's going to be ready for the major leagues in 2025. And I don't think there's any independent evaluator, prospect evaluator, or scout that thinks otherwise. This guy is legit. Tink Hence, I still have questions about whether he can stay healthy, but if he can stay on track, Tink Hence should be up here at some point in 2025. I mean, is a Michael McGreevy ever going to get a shot? A couple other guys who might be on the rise. The point is, how are you going to add quality to rotation when you have all of this mediocrity that you are committed to for the most part? Yeah, and good luck trying to trade Miles Mikolas. I'm sure some of you, and no disrespect, say, well, you try to. He throws a lot of innings. Maybe somebody would want him. For $18.5 million guaranteed next year, I don't think so. He's been one of the worst starting pitchers ERA-wise in Major League Baseball the last 2 seasons. So we talked about where are you going to fit the young dudes? I mean, where's the room for them? Palante in the rotation, Quinn Matthews in the rotation, maybe Hence in the rotation soon. What about, well, go get some free agents. And people are saying, well, Blake Snell might be out there. Okay, fine. I'm not opposed to that. But again, where's the room? And the fact that they have all these guys, is this going to put them in their complacency? And, well, we really like depth, and maybe they'll do another half measure step here and there. But when you have all this clutter, you don't. Where are you going to go get free agents? Where's the room? What are you comfortable spending? What about adding guys through trades? Well, who are you going to trade away to make room? The Cardinals, with this regime, lately in recent years, they always find a way to make, even when they try to do something, they always find a way to get it all twisted up and box themselves in. And it's just like, well, how are they going to get out of this? How do they get better? I don't know. They have so many guys in line that would be back next year. It's frustrating, man, because even when they do try to do the right thing, it really hasn't worked out. Let's be honest. It really has. And again, the 3 free agents they signed in July and August, older guys have a 5.63 ERA. Enough said, right? So maybe new leadership, if there's new leadership in the front office, they'll be able to figure out a plan. They'll be able to salvage this, reorder this, repurpose this, whatever. But the Cardinals are in a jam, and it is a jam, as usual, of their own creation. That'll do it for today on YouTube. Thank you always for your support. Love your comments. We'll be back soon here on the Bernie channel. Thank you.